Hello, everybody. You're watching The Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. We have a very special guest on the show. One of the many political vigilantes out there in the world, host of the YouTube show Backyard Politics. Nikki, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm excellent. So you have been covering the basically the Black Lives Matter protest that started after George Floyd was murdered in Salem, Oregon, and where the cops took a knee, and and we all thought great, and then there's sort of a propaganda, and then some videos have come out that you'll kind of walk us through, showing the police basically protecting the Proud Boys. But why don't you kind of walk us through what you saw and sort of the timeline of what happened?
Okay, so on May 31st, that's the day of both the videos that you'll show. There was a peaceful protest at the Capitol, and I was there, and we marched, through the streets of downtown.
And just
Salem.
so people know, Salem is the capital of Oregon, correct?
Yes, yes.
And it's about an hour south of Portland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
No worries. That's on me. I got to make sure our audience knows where we're at.
No, it's okay. So at that protest, there were two cops that came over from Salem, and they knelt with us, and they talked to us and gave us a speech about how they wanted to turn it into a parade instead of a protest. And there were a couple of people that were like, yeah, I'm not having it. But most of them were really, really excited. They thought that it was progress. And then there were some photos taken. And then later that night, I wasn't there, but it turned kind of ugly, where there was like tear gas and rubber bullets. And there was an armed alt-right militia that was protecting downtown, and the cops basically sided with them in both the videos.
Well, that's shocking, because usually cops, they're on our side, right? I'm confused. So what should I show? The one first that was the one with the telling the Proud Boys to hide?
The viral one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so forgive me, I'm gonna cover you up here, folks. So this video went viral. Over 8 million people have watched it. So let's just check this out.
Citywide curfew shut down so we can arrest anybody who's walking around. Okay. My command wanted me to come talk to you guys and request that you guys secrete either inside the DC, so we're in your vehicle somewhere where it's not a violation. I don't think so we don't look like we're playing favorites. Gotcha. We can go interior. That would really enforce the citywide curfew shut down so we can arrest anybody who's walking around. Okay. My command wanted me to come talk to you guys and request that you guys secrete either inside the DC, so we're in your vehicle somewhere where it's not a violation. I don't think so we don't look like we're playing favorites. Gotcha. We can go interior. That would really enforce
that's just so our audience can get what's happening.
So we can arrest anybody who's walking around. Okay. My command wanted me to come talk to you guys and request
armed Proud Boys, white supremacists, and they said they wanted to talk to them and that you guys could discreetly remain inside the buildings in your vehicles
so we don't
somewhere
look
it's
like
not a
we're playing
violation.
favorites. Gotcha. We can go interior. That would really enforce citywide.
So this is part of what happened in that first week of protests, that then all these videos came out all across the country. But who was that officer talking? Do you know?
I don't know who that one was.
But
I know who the other one was or I know who was referenced in the other video.
Okay, so but that was a member of the Salem Police Department, basically telling armed white supremacists to take cover because they're going to start enforcing the curfew. So this is and look, everybody likes to think I've been to Oregon. I got family that lives up there. I spent a summer in Portland. It's beautiful. Oh, there's all these hippie liberals, and there's a lot of white supremacists in Oregon as well.
Yeah. I
mean, they're here in California. They're everywhere. And that's the police department protecting them.
Yep.
Like, they showed up with armed. Imagine if Black Lives Matter showed up with automatic weapons, what would the response have been?
Oh, Jesus. I don't want to know.
Yeah, exactly. So the other video that you, which is the next video you want to watch?
Well, Jerry Moore he's the police chief in Salem. He put out a really offensive non-apology.
Mhm.
And if you want to play that starting at 43 seconds.
This is the one from the Salem Reporter.
Right.
Police Chief Jerry Moore addresses Salem on community concerns, that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't have to play very much, but you kind of get the gist of it.
All right, so let's...
Salem, I am Jerry Moore, your Chief of Police. I am addressing you today during a time of turmoil like this community has rarely seen. This community is hurting, like many others in our nation, and our job is to make you feel safe and secure. I've lived in this community all my life, and unfortunately, we are living in unprecedented times with many undesirable firsts for us. This is the first pandemic we have faced in my life, the first time the city of Salem has instituted a curfew, the first time Salem police officers had deployed gas in a crowd management environment in Salem. Many things weigh heavily on me today. The fact that we have had to respond to unlawful assemblies with force, that we have not been able to enhance the connections needed to resolve demonstrations peacefully, the fact that people feel that we are treating people unequally. A streaming video many of you have seen has resulted in phone calls and emails decrying the words which were spoken by one of our officers. The message we have received is a concern that we are treating people differently. For that I tell you, I am sorry. Sorry that there is even a thought that this department would treat some different than others. I know the officer involved. Like me, he has dedicated his life to this department and this community. The impact the interactions captured on the video had on our community has been discussed with the officer. Unfortunately, he had not been fully briefed about enforcement of the curfew before he spoke with the group. Moving forward,
That's a lie.
all officers tasked with enforcement...
All right, so let's...
That's just a flat out lie. He said on video, my command was to tell you there's a curfew.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
he
then
goes,
I'm sorry you feel that way? God.
Yeah, he goes, my command wanted me to talk to you. Those are his words, meaning that's a law enforcement and military term. Command is your higher ups. Your superior officers told you, go talk to those guys and tell them to find a safe haven.
Mm-hmm. So basically what I got from that video was shut up because you're being filmed.
Yeah. Yeah. And anything else in that video that strikes you, or is just a blatant lie?
It was just more of the same crap. Yeah. Right. The most important part was the part you showed.
Has anything, because like we're seeing now what Minneapolis City Council has done, what just passed last night in Seattle, and we're seeing the People's City Council here in Los Angeles gave a riveting speech, and they're asking for a 50% defunding of LAPD. So things are starting to happen. But has anything notable happened in Salem? Like reform, anything, any new law passed, anything?
No new laws that I know of. The only thing is that they're trying to get the local schools to get officers out. That's it. Which is a step, but it's nowhere near enough. Right.
So what other videos did you want to show us, Nikki?
There's another video that came out about the same night. It hasn't gone viral yet, and I've talked to a few of the organizers in town of the marches to try to ask them, why are you, because they did a march after that video was released. They did a march, and then it ended up being a photo op with Salem Police Department. I think it was Jerry Moore got up there and gave a speech, and like they were walking around going, hey, you want a water? How's it going? Like trying to be friends. And then I took it like this is an insult, honestly. And then Jerry Moore.
So wait, who was trying to hand out waters and be friendly with you?
The police officers were like, nothing even happened. Nobody addressed anything. And that video had already gone viral, and then the non-apology, and then he's on stage. Like, I'm not even a person of color and I'm offended.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were Jerry Moore and then 2 other officers saw me in the crowd and were standing like 8 feet from me, pointed me out, and then the bigger of the 3 followed me around for about an hour until I left. Yeah. Because I've been vocal online.
Wow.
Yeah.
They followed you. Did they say anything to you? Have they made any like sort of veiled threats, or did you suddenly get a bunch of parking tickets or anything like that? Or
my phone and internet have been really slow. There's been officers driving past my house that stare constantly, which is kind of intimidating. I don't know what their agenda is. I don't know if they think that I was somebody that was out there trying to cause problems. But the funny thing is, nobody was arrested that night of what we're talking about. Nobody. Instead of arresting people like peacefully, they just started, you know, attacking them with tear gas, rubber bullets, LRADs, everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And again, I think I saw one of your videos on Instagram. You're like, I'm a 5'2" I'm a white girl, and this is how, and I feel intimidated and threatened, and this is how they're treating me. Imagine if you were a black person, especially a black man.
Exactly. Yeah.
So is there video of this you want to show us, or?
No, I don't have video of that. I had a photo. It's on my Instagram and Twitter.
Okay. And your Instagram is @BackyardPolitics?
@BackyardPoliticsOfficial.
Okay. And folks, I'll put that in the show notes, and I'll put that as a graphic up so people can follow you. So what else have you seen now since May 31st?
So they had that PR stunt march, and I talked to the organizers, and I was like, why are you guys, you know, why is nobody acknowledging what happened, right? I get that everybody wants peace, but why are you not acknowledging everything that's come out? And I either got ignored or told that I'm supposed to stay in my lane and amplify the black voices. And I said, listen, I do that every day. That's what I do. Like, I have a podcast for that reason. Why are you not addressing the issue here? And it was nothing.
And the activists said this to you?
This was the community organizers.
Okay.
I don't believe they're actually activists, most of them. I don't want to say all of them because I don't know, but I've talked to underground activists, and they've said that the agenda has been basically co-opted, and you can't really do any activism here right now because it's just a PR stunt.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, part of this one article that you sent me, which how they sort of are infiltrating activist organizations to kind of quiet them and stifle them and just sort of steer them into this like safe sort of Disney parade activism rather than actual change.
Right. They actually, on that, I had something. Well, one of the organizers has like basically come out with platitude after platitude and doesn't say anything of what they're actually doing. They're like, well, there's going to be change coming up soon. You guys are going to see something really happen, but we can't talk about it. It's like totally like Biden. And then there's the alt-right. And I feel like I'm stuck in like the third party situation where it's like, no, you're wrong and you're wrong. Why don't we actually do something that's productive? It's odd. It's frustrating.
So, yeah, I mean, this is this just you bring up excellent points of how the power structure is designed and how they infiltrate to sort of dissipate activist movements. I mean, look, this is I've talked about this before in the show. They did it very effectively in the 60s. The hippies, the original hippies, were like radical activists, you know, and they wanted, you know, revolutionary action, and then they got infiltrated, and then it slowly became more about, you know, free love and drugs. And that was by design. That wasn't like, that was like to steer them away from the radical change, because those in power don't want to give it up. They just don't want to give it up. And what you're seeing to the audience here, what Nikki's describing in Salem, is that's just one city, and this is every city. This is all over the country, and this is why, conversely, they were so did not want Kshama Savant to be on the city council. That's why Jeff Bezos spent $1.5 million to block her, because look what happens on that city council. They just passed this new bill of defunding and the police and all this stuff. They can't use tear gas. They can't use any of those crowd control things. And that's because she's not a progressive Democrat, because a progressive Democrat eventually will fold and sell out. I mean, that's just, we've seen that happen. But a woman who's like, I'm a socialist, she's the one who opened the city hall in Seattle and let the protesters go in there and talk. And she's the one who has let the the Chaz zone, the autonomous zone happen. And that's why they're so against any sort of, activist infiltration.
Yeah, for sure. And she is an activist. She doesn't just get up there and tell you, things you want to hear. Yeah,
she's like, these are the actions to take. This is the thing. Exactly. Like a lot of people in that, like in the second week of protests, people were like, what do we do? What do we do? And it's like, well, these are the actions to take. It's not just Trump's bad, get him out. Like it better be more than that, because putting Biden in there, okay, great. Then the guy that wrote the crime bill, who openly just said last week he's not going to defund the police and said shoot him in the leg, that's the guy that's going to be leading the resistance. And it's like, that's why it's so important to get it on a grassroots level. What they've done in Minneapolis, what they've done in Seattle, is why it's so important.
That reminds me, at that PR stunt BS march, there was a speaker up there, and they were just saying, oh yeah, say it with me now, let's vote. And I turned to my family and I said, this is bullshit. I have voted and nothing's fucking done anything about it. Like, every single progressive congressional candidate for their primary just lost here. So I'll just keep voting though.
Yeah, that'll do it. I'll keep voting. Meanwhile, Proud Boys are getting protected.
Seriously. Yeah.
So this is the point, and this is what's, voting. Yeah, electoral politics are like, yeah, fine, we should all vote and this and that, but I'm never going to not vote. But if that's the top of the activist mountain for you, then wow, there's not much that's going to get done, because
exactly.
We've just seen in the last two Democratic primaries, purging voter rolls, using electric voting, all this stuff, double-digit exit poll wins for Bernie, and Biden still ends up winning, and nobody calls it out. Everybody just goes, and then they get mad at us progressives because we're critical of the Democrats, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right, yeah, there you go, blame the messenger.
Yeah, exactly.
It's maddening, and that's why you got to vote third party and vote for socialists. Not progressive Democrats. I mean, look, I guess AOC and Payapal, I think, just put this bill forward about cutting $350 billion out of the defense budget. Okay, good. That's what we need to do. But what's really, is that just the token? Is that going to pass? And, are Pelosi's going to pass it? Are the Chuck Schumer's going to let that pass? Are they going to just come back and say, well, let's not do unilateral disarmament? And when it gets to the Senate, that's what Liz Warren, who wants to green up the military, she'll vote against it, or no, if she knows the Republicans will vote it down, then she'll vote for it to say, I resisted. But
exactly,
it'll just be more window dressing resistance by the sellout Democrats. I mean, the thing I've said, the Republicans are the cop with their knee on the neck, and the Democrats are the cops watching.
Absolutely.
So, well, where are you gonna? What's your next steps, Nikki? What do you? I mean, you're not in this big city that has this rabid lefty activist movement. What are you gonna do? What do you see? What do you feel like you should do next?
I'm definitely going to continue with the podcasting, because I'm getting more people, like underground activists, to talk to me about what we should be doing. And I've been looking into going to protests up in Portland area because there's actually protests there, not photo ops. So maybe do that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you also might be able, if you start connecting with some of the people, the activists in Portland, maybe get them to drive an hour south and pay attention to what's going on in Salem.
That's a good point.
That's also the capital of the state, so that's a good point, to think about. So, where can people follow you and watch your show and listen to your podcast?
Well, real quick, there was one last video of them siding with the Proud Boys.
Where is that?
That one.
Is that the March for Trump Anti-Fascist Counter-Protest one?
No, that was before that one.
All right. Is it in the Salem Reporter video or article?
No, it's right after that.
Okay, hold on, folks.
I think it's Citizen something.
Citizen.
Concerned Citizen, maybe?
Concerned Citizen. So after his non-apology?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, second video. Yeah, Concerned Citizen. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Do you know what minute mark it's at?
I believe it's 1650. It says in the description box, but I think it's 1650.
$16.20. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
All right, so let's bring this up here.
You want to go with me? Yeah, I'll go with you. It's so big.
I broke up a fight. I got in a fight. Helped the kid out. He's bleeding really bad.
This is Salem PD siding with.
Well, this guy was up on the roof. He's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi. We just wanted to come ask you. The reason we were all lined up like that is because I guess we're trying to act like you and stop them from coming down here further. So, but we want to be respectful. Do you not want us to do that, or?
I think technically everybody's supposed to kind of like disperse,
Right.
but you guys are obviously public businesses.
Yeah.
I would just say try to stick to the sides and try not to cause confrontation.
Okay.
Because I don't want to see you get hurt. The people that are left at this point are the ones that
Want to
are
cause
causing
chaos.
problems.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, just try to stay off to the sides and try not to off the side.
Okay. Yeah, off the side.
Roger that.
Okay. Thank you for your
Thank you.
service.
Thank you.
God bless you.
That's good. All right. Thank you.
God bless you. Hey, please tell Van Meter Angela Roman said hi.
Okay.
I hope he.
So is that it?
Yep.
So that woman is. So so the woman talking is like alt-right or something?
Yeah, she's with the alt-right group that was downtown armed.
Ah.
And then she went up to talk to the officer, and they all knew that there was a 11 p.m. curfew. And she went up and asked, we want to be like you, so what can we do? And he said, well, technically everybody's supposed to go home, but you can just stay off to the side. I just don't want you to get hurt. And then earlier in that video, it shows that the cops were kettling the protesters into the armed militia.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the Van Meter guy that she's referring to, I don't know if she's like saying it as a joke or to taunt him or if she actually is friends with him, but that's the same cop that knelt with us at the freaking protest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen kettling videos all over the country, and Fiorella from Convo Couch, who was on this show May 31st, the day before, she and Johnny were kettled by LAPD. They kettled them into an alley where there was cops on either side, but man,
yeah,
they're using the white supremacist militia groups to like start shit. Yeah, this seems so choreographed in so many ways, because it's like, if the militia groups, realized, and this is a big ask, but if they realized that they're actually in the same class, that this is actually class warfare, they're in the same class as the Black Lives Matter and working class anybody, that it's really us versus the 1%. If they realize that, then they have a problem. Then the 1% has a huge problem. So they need, and also, if you're willing to get a gun and a black man was lynched a week ago in Palmdale, an hour north of here, lynched, hung from, so if there's people willing to do that, of course they're willing to join the police department and legally be able to kill somebody. So that's all right, viewers, if you're anywhere near the Salem, Oregon area, this is a great way to get involved. If you live in the state of Oregon, especially, or even in that county, I would call Salem police and show these videos and be like, we want civilian reform. Don't fall for, I hate even using the word reform. Don't fall for like window dressing reforms. Like, defund the police, put the money into social programs, civilian oversight, any ties to white nationalism, you're done. And also pressure your federal lawmakers that the KKK and white nationalist groups need to be deemed terrorist organizations, because they are. Because if cops were doing that with goddamn ISIS or Al Qaeda, people would lose their fucking minds. And those organizations are not Americans. They're not proud Americans. They're not supporting good, wholesome American values. They're supporting fascism, the things that my two uncles fought in World War II for. So fuck these white nationalist assholes. They're un-American, and we need to stand up and say no to this crap on so many levels. So, well, Nikki, I really appreciate you taking the time to show us all this. And anything else you want to leave us with?
No, I think that's it. If you live in the area, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram and we can go protest together.
Yeah. Yeah, because I saw you post you didn't feel safe protesting alone because you got these cops out there targeting you, and then now these white nationalists. I mean, so stay safe, Nikki. If you don't feel safe, there's plenty of ways to protest where you don't got to put yourself in harm's way. So, all right, thank you for taking time to be on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, follow her, subscribe to her YouTube channel, because this is what it takes. It's going to take citizen journalists, because the corporate media is basically just the propaganda arm of the police and the ruling elites. They will not call out police brutality. They're not calling them. They won't call out LAPD's brutality. They won't call out Garcetti for not calling out LAPD's. This is in Los Angeles, and you better believe it's the same thing in Salem and Portland and Seattle and everywhere else. Watch your local corporate. Pardon?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to say, I actually submitted the second video that hadn't gone viral to all of the local news channels and newspapers and didn't hear anything.
Of course.
Yep.
Of course. That shows you that they're in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way the media is covering this propaganda and this bootlicking, it's actually radicalizing more people. Because, Ron Placone interviewed this comic that's in the Chaz zone in Seattle, and he's saying, people are watching the news, there's armed guards and they're extorting businesses, and then they come down and they see it's peaceful, there's food, and they're like, wow, are we being lied to? And it's the same thing. Like, everybody, the last 2 weeks, people have just been radicalized by watching video after video after video of cops protecting white nationalists, of cops beating the shit out of people, of shooting rubber bullets. And then there's people who got shot at themselves. And beaten themselves and targeted themselves. And it's like, yep, And everyone's, you know, unfortunately, the reality is it needed a bunch of middle-class white people to get targeted and get the shit kicked out of them by by cops to understand what black people have been and you know, Latino and Native Americans have been going through in this country for decades, if not centuries. So thank you, Nikki, for doing that and putting your show out there. So follow her. This is being a citizen journalist, what it means to get the truth out there, because they are working actively against us. So support her show, support my show. There's a lot of great ways to support my show. Like, share, and subscribe, and do all that stuff. And shave your knuckles for justice. Hey, everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button and the subscribe button, even if you've done it before, because they're unsubscribing, many of you, every day. Watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. Also, support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Rockfin.com is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos are on Rockfin ad-free. Thanks for watching.